So, this is the story of how I nearly got a jail sentence because my senior prank went wrong. A couple of weeks before the end of high school, my friends and I were thinking about doing some kind of a senior prank, For fun, and for everything awful that we had to go through for so many years. A lot of kids do it. It's like your legacy that future generations talk about. So I got an amazing idea. Everyone in my group said it sounded hilarious, so I was put in charge of implementing it. It was the last day of high school. We decided that I was going to sneak into the school through the girls' changing room window and put a sex doll in the showers. I was ready, climbing through the window, hoodie and gloves on, and a big black box with me. But then, somebody saw me. Of all the possible explanations, that person decided that yes, I must be planting explosives. The school was evacuated immediately, the police squad cleared the area, and I was arrested. Honestly, it was really hard to explain to the officers why I thought it was going to be funny, and I was crying nonstop as they said I might be charged with criminal mischief and spend up to 8 years in jail. Luckily, it all turned out way better, and I had to do a few weeks of community service. But I don't think I'll be in the mood for pranks anytime in the near future.
About a couple months ago, my high school held an unexpected live active shooter drill. It was the first time they'd ever done this, and I'm not sure after what happened that they'll ever do this again. So, just before the announcement, I was kicked out of class. On my way to the office, the lights went out as though the main breaker was flipped. Emergency exit lights came on, and the principal came over the intercom telling all teachers some code phrase. So I was the only confused dummy walking the hallways. It was really dark and silent, and it all happened in a matter of seconds. Not knowing what to do, I just ran to my class and started banging on the door. I assume my teacher knew what was happening, so I just yelled, "Hey, let me in!" The entire class of 20 kids in the dark instantly screamed at the top of their lungs, which then caused the adjacent classroom to also start screaming and panicking. The teachers were, of course, required to keep the doors shut no matter what. So nobody let me in, and then I saw somebody coming around the corner, and in the loudest voice I had heard in my life, screaming, "Get on the ground!" There was a police officer visiting the school to oversee the drill. So whether he was taking the opportunity to do his part in acting or really thought I had somehow picked the worst possible day to commit a crime, I don't know. He did not have his gun drawn, just his flashlight. He grabbed me and took me to the office. After about an hour of everybody screaming, panicking, and peeing their pants, it was over. There was an assembly held the same day where we all received an apology for not running this drill knowingly first. The kids were traumatized, I'm sure, and parents raised hell after hearing about this.
So, a couple of weeks ago, I accidentally flashed my teacher. For a bit of context, my dad works an IT job at the school I attend. He and a couple of other IT people and teachers have this club where they listen to music and appreciate it. My favorite teacher also belongs to the club. Due to the current apocalyptic events, they have moved their meetings online through video calls, and that's where the whole screw-up begins. It was evening. I was hanging out in my room, wearing headphones, binge-watching Netflix, and I managed to spill some salsa on my white shirt, meaning if I wanted to salvage it, I had to soak it immediately. So without even thinking it over, I took off my shirt. I wasn't wearing a bra, so I was just skipping through the living room with my tits out. I thought I was lucky because nobody was in the living room. I walked to the laundry room to get the stain out. Done. Easy. No problemo. As I walked back, I got a craving for some soda and decided to get one. I walked by the computer and into the kitchen, opened the fridge, and heard, Madeline? I was stunned. I immediately recognized my teacher's voice. I was putting two and two together and understood that my father's laptop was in the living room. He must have been on a video call. I dropped to the floor against the kitchen island. Luckily, my dad came back and rescued me. My teacher said, "Hey, I think your daughter might be in hiding. You might want to hang up so she can safely return to her room." So my dad disconnected the call, and I asked him to close his eyes. I then fled the scene, locked my door, and immediately put on a shirt. I called out for my dad that it was safe, and a few minutes later, I could hear him laugh with everyone in the call. If you don't mind, I'm gonna go die now. Thanks.
Okay. So, I was 15 at the time, and everyone around me was talking about relationships and drama, but I had yet to have my first kiss. I was a bit too self-conscious about my body and my face and my personality. Well, everything about me. But I still wanted to connect with someone. Cue the most genius and the most ridiculous idea ever. I could create a dating profile. I mean, sure, I'd need to tweak the truth a little bit, but I got so into creating my online persona that the dating profile looked nothing like me. A 19-year-old college student who already volunteered in a bunch of organizations and traveled a lot. So, this perfect, non-existent girl piqued a lot of men's interest, but there was one in particular that I liked to chat with. He had a picture of some dead writer, but he was pretty outspoken about not wanting to show his face because he didn't want people to know that he was on dating sites. Pretty soon, we were chatting from early morning till midnight. I was sure I was falling in love, and it seemed like he felt the same. Finally, after a couple of weeks, he asked me to meet with him. That's when I got really nervous. I mean, I looked nothing like the pictures I got from the internet. And I'm certainly not 19. I tried hinting to him that there was something he didn't know about me, but he assured me that he didn't care and I felt safe. Until I actually went to the park where we agreed to meet and saw the only man standing by the fountain. It was my teacher! It was too late to turn back as he saw me too. I was really glad that he didn't shout at me, but it was pretty obvious he wasn't interested in me. Like that. Eventually, he told my parents because he was scared I would get involved with creepy old men. So now I have no boyfriend and no privacy.
Okay, so a bit of context. I'm extremely into detective stories. I have read and seen every little thing related to Sherlock Holmes. And in some ridiculous way, this one time, I imagined myself being this genius sleuth. And I nearly ruined my teacher's life. There was this new teacher in our high school. He always looked pretty suspicious to me. Like he would always go out of the school if he needed to make a call and would look around to see if anybody was watching. I don't know why, but it seemed sketchy. Then one time, when I was in the cafe near the school, I saw him holding some teenager's hand. She looked uncomfortable. I found out that he had a wife and 2 sons, but no daughter. So what the hell was a middle-aged dude doing with a teenage girl? I decided to investigate. For weeks, I waited for the right moment to snatch his phone or check his computer. And he got sloppy. He went out to the teacher's lounge and I quickly opened up Facebook to see messages from the girl saying, "I don't want to be a secret," and so on. Now I knew that this was some disgusting pervert stuff. The righteous me went to the dean's office and told everything that I uncovered. In my mind, I was already giving myself trophies and sewing a cape. But it didn't turn out the way I expected. A couple of days later, I was invited to the dean's office yet again, where it was explained to me that the girl was his long-lost daughter that he just found out about. And because of me, his family found out about it too. So I got detention for my ridiculous sleuthing, but I hope to God I didn't destroy a family. I guess I still have a lot to learn before I become a serious detective.